Hi guys, Tugger here with a new video, and I want to talk about the state of Outlaw Rogue. I feel like there's too many discussions on Reddit, on forums, on YouTube. Even Venruki made a video about it, like secretly OP or whatever, which is quite laughable. Um, there is no secretly OP the ladder. The ladder just plays out how it is playing out. If there is like a very OP spec, it will be known because people are playing the same game. It's not like you're playing League of Legends and you have like a secretly OP build. Even then, you have people actually reporting it from day one. The same for World of Warcraft. If you see that Outlaw Rogue is performing very hard on a specific build, you will see it on multiple sites, like for example, Check PvP, Representation PvP on Drusfar, or anything else. You have many things that can actually show you really easily what is going on with a spec. Taking Outlaw Rogue in AWC is not a reason to call a spec fine. It is not. People can agree Retribution Paladin has not been picked or even performing in AWC. Does it mean that Retribution Paladin is bad? No, doesn't mean that. Affliction Warlock is not picked. It is bad though, but Affliction Warlock has not been picked from my memory. Does it mean that it is straight bad? No, I think it's underperforming. It's not straight bad. Auto Rogue, which everyone said that it was literally D tier, and it is not like sucked on their thumb and saying that it is D tier because it is D tier, or they think in their D tier. No, we know it is D tier. It is not good in Soul Shuffle. It is not good in trees normally, except in one or two comps that you show and saw on the AWC, played by the best players in the world. Not like your average Joes, not you and me, not anyone that is actually playing those comps are on the same level as they are, because they are paid to play the game. They are paid to perform. They are playing on Twitch every single day. They're actually trying to make it work because it is a straight counter to specific comps. For example, Elemental Shaman, Demonology, Warlock. You can actually delay a lot of goes, you can survive a lot of goes, and you cannot be stopped because you don't really have a burst. You have only consistent damage with your mastery, and yes, it can hit. If you're hitting on one place the whole time, even on your arm, if you're doing like this for 1 hour, trust me, you're going to have pain on your arm. Doesn't matter how hard you're actually doing it, you're going to get pain. That's the same for Outlaw Rogue. You're hitting the target multiple times the same way, and you're stunning and you're gouging and you're blinding and you're trying to sheep shot the off target. All of this, at one point, it will hurt. The balanced druid will have cyclone, we have the damage, we'll have the survivability, we'll have the kiting power. Both are actually very mobile. And that is why in AWC it had success versus specific comps. Trust me, for now, you have to trust me. If RMP was as strong as ever, that comp would not exist, for example. But RMP currently is not the strongest possible RMP in the world. It had like way stronger versions, like for example in Shadowlands, where RMP was straight up just not killable. Right now, Outlaw Rogue is very killable. That aside, I don't want to talk about AWC too long because it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to me, it doesn't apply to 99.99% of the player base. It is not a reflection on the ladder. People play way more Retribution Paladin. Way more. You want to see the rating of Retribution Paladin? It's actually gigantic. You have way more players, way more representation about Retribution Paladin in threes. In threes, in Soul Shuffle, and even in RBGs. You see a lot of Retribution Paladins. Doesn't mean that it is OP. No, it just means that it is really viable. People can pick up and actually have a lot of fun with it. Auto Rogue, I want to say, if it's secretly OP, it's secretly garbage OP because top 50, 2k, it's so little. It has nothing to do with popularity of a spec. It has to do with the power of the spec. If a spec is OP, you will see more play. Weirdly enough, Windwalker is currently very strong. I would even say top 1 melee currently. It has survivability, it has insane damage, a warrior wet dream basically. literally a warrior wet dream. Your Rising Sun Kick can crit anytime because you have you have a talent that basically gives you crit, and it crits for way more than a Mortal Strike ever can have without modifiers. You will have to have a lot of modifiers, a lot of buffs to actually get the same amount of damage on your Mortal Strike as a Rising Sun Kick. And the survivability of a Windwalker is actually very, very high and very strong. And weirdly enough, Windwalker is normally not the most popular spec out there. Monks in general are not really popular in World of Warcraft. If you had like one OP warrior and one OP Windwalker, people would lean on warrior because warrior is the most popular class in World of Warcraft with for example, Retribution Paladin. But weirdly enough, we are currently with a Windwalker being top 1 melee in the game, and now we have a resurgence of Windwalkers. You see a Windwalker right, left, center, overall. If you're playing BGs, if you're playing arenas, you will see a Windwalker probably 25-30% of the time in your games, with you or against you, which is enormous. And it is not a popular spec. Now, why are people actually rerolling Windwalker? Because it is the flavor of the month. It is actually very strong, it's actually very sturdy, and people can perform on it and actually gain rating on it because they can win most of their games. If it's a caster, a melee, or an annoying comp, you can actually do anything, like you can do a lot of things on a Windwalker that you cannot maybe do with an Arms Warrior, for example. And nearly all the comps of an Arms Warrior actually can be played with a Windwalker. Warrior Mage can be played Windwalker Mage. A Shadow Priest Warrior can actually be played Shadow Priest Windwalker. You can play Hunter Warrior, but you can also play Hunter Windwalker. You can play TSG, so which is Warrior DK, with a Windwalker, Windwalker DK, which is probably a better comp even. So it has nothing to do with popularity, it has to do with power of a spec. Outlaw Rogue has no representation, has no play, has no ladder presence as well. It is not secretly OP. A secretly OP spec doesn't really exist in current metagaming. You have secretly builds that can actually be performing. For example, on a Frost Decay, you can perform on a, not really a secret comp, but on cheese comp, and it is possible to perform in it. Everyone can say that Frost Decay is C tier or even D tier viable. But on a specific comp, it can actually be very strong because you have a lot of possibilities to one-shot the enemy team. I'm thinking about Frost Decay Devastation Evoker trying to grip 3 targets, Deep Breath, Fire Breath, your Pillar of Frost go, and people die. That's pretty much how the comp goes. You have triple CC, triple damage, triple one-shot possibilities. Does it mean that Frost Decay is S tier? No, it is. It has one great comp, and then it is garbage for mostly everything because of the spec design. Outlaw Rogue is strictly the same. It has nothing to do with their power, it has nothing to do with their kit. Actually, it has to do with their kit because it's a rogue, it has stuns. But why is Sub Rogue more played? Why is Assassination Rogue even more played than Outlaw Rogue? Why Assassination Rogue is also garbage tier, by the way. I'm playing one, I can perform on it somehow. So I have some games where it's really disgusting, and in some games where I feel like I'm a god. It is what it is. Depends on who you're facing. You're facing versus a priest instead of a evoker or a holy paladin. You're getting something, right? But Outlaw Rogue is straight up just auto attacks, straight up just CC, and straight up just consistent damage. It has no burst, it has no presence, it has nothing going on. So please, guys, stop with the madness of talking about Outlaw Rogue like if it's a S tier spec, because it is not a S tier spec, it is not a A tier spec, it is not a A tier spec because there is a presence of Sub-Rogue, and that's why people are not playing it. If Sub-Rogue didn't exist, everyone would be saying Outlaw Rogue is a 8-tier spec. Bullshit. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Maybe I will talk about it again, but trust me, Outlaw Rogue is garbanzo bad. Garbanzo. It needs a rework. It doesn't need a buff. It needs a straight rework to actually have cohesion on their build, cohesion on their presence in PvP. I think Blade Fury is like the one problematic spell for Outlaw Rogue to be able to actually have a great spec in PvP. But anyways, we can have a discussion in a later date. If you want to discuss about it on the comments, I will be discussing with you guys. But hopefully you can understand, like, ladder presence doesn't indicate you a S tier or A tier spec for Outlaw Rogue. Please stop saying that. Thank you.